Disc 3, Building Values, How to Teach Your Kids Right from Wrong, examines the teaching of values from two perspectives: understanding, knowing right and wrong, and motivation, wanting to do the right thing. In both of these areas, we'll find that the skills we learned in Discs 1 and 2 are critical to the teaching of values to our children.
Disc 3 is a new turn for us. We haven't talked about values with teachers and teaching values, but we felt that this was such an important part of parenting that we wanted to include it. So Disc 3 is devoted to how you use the skills from Disc 1 and Disc 2 in teaching values, in catching your kid the first time they lie, when they're not nice to another person, be it a peer or an adult or a sibling. So it all fits together. We say don't start with Disc 3. It's the skills you've learned in Disc 1 and 2 that are going to apply to teaching family values.
Let's take a closer look at how to deal with lying, the first behavior that parents will face that is clearly a lesson in right and wrong.
Your child will lie probably in their 3rd year. Now, let me give you a piece of advice. Teach the kid to tell the truth before they learn to lie well. Because by the time that kid's 10, you won't know whether they're telling the truth. But when they're 3, they're too naive to lie well. Imagine playing hide and go seek with your little 3-year-old. Have you ever played hide and go seek with your 3-year-old? And you say, now you go hide. They're in the living room. And they go hide behind the chair. Now their whole fanny is sticking out from behind the chair. But their head's behind the chair and they think you can't see them. That's the naivete of a 3-year-old. And when they lie, that's how naive their lies are. That's when you teach a child to be honest. Now, a lot of times a parent will have that upset. Oh, that's wrong. Oh, and they get into fight-flight mode and they start thinking of what's the punishment for lying. If you deal with lying through punishment, you'll highly motivate the child to keep you from knowing they lied. But that's different than learning to tell the truth. We've looked at how maturation occurs in the moral domain, how children internalize the parent, really, so that the parent is within them, so that that voice informs them when it comes to a choice. Should I or shouldn't I? And it's always between some short-term gain versus the right thing to do. And only when that capacity has developed so that it's a strong capacity do you have morality.
Disc 3 also gives you an understanding of how to build positive relationships with your children.
And what we've learned about limit setting is the finesse that allows you to say no without driving a wedge in your relationship with a child. Without those skills, then attempts to set limits often produce arguments, and then the arguments produce threats, and the threats produce punishment, and that produces resentment. And then the kid is either going to act out and be oppositional, or they'll be passive-aggressive and just not do what you want them to do, which then produces harsh punishment, which then produces more resentment. So you're getting into a cycle, and that's the trap. So if we can perfect our limit setting skills so that we can do it not only with little problems, being firm and being consistent, but also handle when the kid's really out of line, like back talk, with skill, then you can have the kid own the problem, often get an apology out of them, rather than stepping in the trap.
I believe that Fred Jones has created a special program for parents to be able to get to know their children better, to be able to see them excel within their academics, within their personality, and within the family. And I feel that it'll bring families closer together to be able to get to know each other better.